Alright, let's talk about Rashee Rice, the second round pick from this most previous draft, who's had a really interesting rookie year for the Chiefs, and honestly has really come into his own as of late. And a play like this is an interesting play. It's in many ways not like a dominant play or anything, but something I could see being a real factor on Super Bowl Sunday. So the Bills are in a cover 2 zone. The 49ers like to play a lot of zone coverage. The route you see on the screen is Rice's route. Okay, well, doesn't seem too fancy. How is he going to do anything impressive on this play, you might be wondering. Well, when it begins, you're going to keep wondering that because he's not doing anything impressive. I mean, he's just sitting underneath the zone coverage. Again, not like it's a bad route or anything. It's just kind of him running the route that he's supposed to run, which is more of a check down route. If, something is going, if nothing else is open, you can throw it here. And honestly, a big part of it is you just kind of use this to get linebackers to move in. But also there's an edge rusher who's about to make contact with Mahomes. So, okay, whatever. It'll be a sack, right? Let's move on to the next play. Well, if you know anything about Mahomes, you know that's probably not the case. As you see, Mahomes gets around that pressure. He eventually flips the ball to Rashee Rice, and Rashee Rice is one of the real aspects to his game. I talked about this when I made my Deebo Samuel video as well, is when you get him in open space, he can move so well. And when you play zone coverage, there won't always be this much separation, but there will be times when there's no one directly next to him, and then he can move and pick up a lot of yards after the catch. As you see, watch him do a really good job at picking up a good amount of yards after the catch, and they turn what was a nothing play into an explosive play. And part of why, when I initially made my kind of first reaction video, which, I gave a prediction there, but I also said it's subject to change, and I'll give another prediction video before the Super Bowl is up about giving my actual, prediction and all that stuff. But one of the reasons why my initial thought was I was kind of leaning towards Kansas City is, well, Patrick Mahomes, really good against zone. Travis Kelce, really good against zone. And Rashee Rice, really good against zone. If you look at his, couple of stats in man versus in zone, as in against man versus against zone, you see that his yards per route ran against man, a respectable 1.86 and a PFF grade of 73.2. Certainly not bad at all. The zone stuff, though, 2.81 yards per route ran and an 86.1 Pro Football Focus grade. I mean, those are like elite numbers against zone. Like, that's really good stuff. So if that's what they're going to do, I do think that it probably will, it will give him some opportunities. And I do think the Niners will still play zone, even if it's a bit of a bad matchup, because that's what they've been doing all year. Do you really change what you've been doing all year for one game? Because you might not be as good at man coverage and stuff like that. Now, going over to a play like this, I don't know. There will still be man coverage opportunities, and maybe that's the move if you're the 49ers, is to try and just play more man. I think they probably will try to play more man, and that might be a way to take Rashee Rice out of the play, out of the game, right? Something like this, it's a route that can work against man. However, when Mahomes takes the snap, you see that, Rice right here is not really that open. It's also worth mentioning that if it's man coverage, even if Mahomes fits this through a tight window and you get a catch here, there's still a player to make a tackle right away. Whereas, again, in zone, there might be opportunities where he's getting the ball with no one around him and can do that yards after the catch stuff. So instead, Mahomes goes somewhere else. And I'm not even sure if Rice was ever going to get the ball on that play anyway, but still, Mahomes does go somewhere else and it's incomplete. So again, there are ways you can cover Rashee Rice for sure. And I want to be clear, it's not like he never wins in man, just it's usually not as dominant. But a play like this is what the Chiefs love to do, is just find ways to get him the ball in open space. They know that's a real part of where his talent is. So something like this, it's zone coverage that the Bengals are in, and you have a play where Mahomes is going to run a play action, roll out towards the top of the screen, and flip it to Rice, who I've circled in black. He's going to be going up towards the top of the screen, and, hopefully you can get guys out of position with the play action. He can get past them, and hey, he has the ball in open space. Watch how, when Mahomes runs this play action, you're going to see him, flip the ball to Rashee Rice, who, at this point, there's not a ton of guys around him, and, there's Bengals players kind of trying to approach him here, but this is the Andy Reid aspect, right? He can scheme up scenarios to just put Rashee Rice in position to succeed. As you see, Mahomes hits Rice, who does, again, great work in open space, picks up, again, an explosive play there, and if they can do stuff like this, it's definitely going to go a long way. And I also think stuff like this is really fascinating to me. So you see Rashee Rice's route. It's a route that can, again, it can work against this coverage, right? Trying to get into a gap in this zone coverage. But here's another interesting aspect is that while in this video, I'm kind of just talking about Rashee Rice, you can't do that, right? Because he's not going to be the only player on the field. You have to talk about it in relation to not just the 49ers players, but the other Chiefs players. That guy is Travis Kelce. You might have heard of him, dating Taylor Swift. That guy, yeah. He is someone who tends to get a lot of attention, not just off the field, but on the field. Players pay attention to him. Look at how when this play begins, you see that because the kind of gravity shifting towards the offense's left, Rashee Rice is now in this open spot. And, again, if he has a window, not only can he make the catch, but watch as Mahomes throws this. Rashee Rice beautifully waits until he catches the ball, and the second he catches the ball, turns around, picks up a ton of yards, which is really well done. And also, look at Kelce blocking. Kelce, he does that, right? He's just one of those guys where he has such high football IQ. He'll notice those things where, pass has been caught downfield. Let me quickly get downfield and make a block. It helps when your number one option is also a tight end and can block like that. But also, great job by Rice to turn downfield and pick up a ton of yards. So again, it's so easy. Now, you might be sitting here and wondering, well, okay, but are the 49ers going to give up those types of plays? They don't give those types of plays up, right? Well, I wouldn't say they don't. We all remember this play, right? The 3rd and 18 play in the conference championship game, back when we thought the Lions were going to win the game. You see the concept on the screen, several routes running relatively deep down the field. That is going to be the one, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who could potentially get open on this play. You have kind of all these other clear out routes, and hopefully there'll be a bubble where, again, if you know zone is coming, you can kind of scheme around it. Look at how when Goff takes the snap, he is going to eventually look towards Rice and fire towards Amon-Ra St. Brown. Think about Rice because it's a video on him, of course. Fires towards Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is, open on this play. The Lions do this really well, but so do the Chiefs. So it's something where it's like, I'm not showing this to say the 49ers defense is bad, just that 49ers defense is good, but you will have these opportunities. You can scheme up these opportunities. Amon-Ra is going to be able to pick up a first down on that play, which they eventually got a field goal off of, so definitely a mistake there by San Francisco to let that happen. But, these things can happen, and if they are going to happen, I do think that, Kelce will find ways to get open because he's Kelce, but Rashee Rice, I think they'll be able to kind of use as the real tool to attack this type of defense. So my final predictions page, which again, don't really pay much attention to the bottom number. It's more just for fun. This is certainly not an actual prediction. It's just these are all the videos I've made. I'm keeping a final tally at the bottom just because it's fun to do that. But I'm going +4 for the Chiefs here out of 5. I think that the 49ers do a pretty good job at defending that stuff. They do, but I just think that Rashee Rice will find ways to get open. I just think that Andy Reid will find ways to scheme him open, and I think it will still work out well for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's kind of thing you look at, right, is, there's a lot of different options that San Francisco has. San Francisco certainly has more, great options. In fact, I think you could argue if you're talking the top 5 options in this game, but guys to throw to, the Chiefs only have one of them. I think that, even though I like Rashee Rice, I would probably say that Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel are all ahead of him. However, it's not always just about the player. It's also about how they can, match up against the defense they're playing against. And I think Rashee Rice matches up very well. So I definitely think that I would be a little nervous if I'm a 49ers fan about the Rashee Rice situation. Definitely someone who can come through and could be a key player for them because he has been, recently. So yeah, those are my thoughts on all of that. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.